From Careco TV, one of the longest running outdoor programs on television today. Exploring the country and the coast in search of adventures. From the mountains of the great Northwest to the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. This is Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin. This week on Americana Outdoors, we're sharing our passion for all things fishing. From fishing on ponds to walking along the banks with a rod and reel in hand, to sharing some bait-riggin tips and tricks from the pros, this show is dedicated to having fun on the water. To kick things off, Wade Middleton is meeting up with his longtime buddy Chris Clarkson for some good old-fashioned pond fishing.
I first met Chris back in the mid-90s. He was a high school kid that showed up out of 777 Ranch, wanted to be a fishing and hunting guide. And so we kind of bonded pretty quick. We both loved to hunt, we both loved to fish, and we've maintained that relationship for a long time. So when we get a chance to go fishing or get a chance to go hunting, we try to make the most of it.
That's crazy. Yeah. Look at all those fish. A little better.
Yeah, see, he's a little longer.
Fishing's supposed to be fun, and this is about as fun as it can get. I think we call this catching, right?
Yeah, this isn't fishing, this is catching.
Once Wade and Chris had their fill of catching small fish from the boat, they decided to make their way over to another pond in hopes of bigger bites on top water.
It's always hilarious to me to watch the direction people take off when you go fish a pond. You know, one guy's gonna run down the dam, one guy's gonna run towards the creek, one guy's gonna run towards the flooded vegetation. And in this case here, I took off down that way with Gentry, and Chris took off down the dam with Kevin. And it was just, I mean, pretty much, you know, when you got around them, there was something ready to bite pretty fast.
Whoa.
Chris is on an anchor lock. He's just sitting there and watching.
Power poles are down.
Power poles down. See, he's still anchor locked down.
Not taking a step until they stop biting.
That's awesome. He's off anchor lock though.
I moved a step.
Let the wind drift you down.
Yes. Grass all in his face. You chose wrong, Wade.
Do what? Yeah, so far. It was pretty apparent that Chris's local knowledge of the ponds was a huge advantage. I should have been following right behind him because he would go to the sweet spot right away. And this one pond that we went to had a dock and an aeration system out in the middle of it. And I went to the dam this time. He went to the dock. And I mean, he was catching them literally every other cast right there. So it didn't take me long to head back down that dam and you know, follow Chris. He's done this a long time. I think I taught him pretty well.
You might have me in weight on that one.
I think I got you. Oh,
doesn't count.
Mine's going back in. I'm working on my 12-pound limit.
Yeah. I wonder what it is over there. Maybe there's a brush pile.
I just think they're stacked up on that drop-off off the side of these feeders and the aerator. Healthiest water in the lake, probably. You know, when you have aeration in any body of water and you get into the late summer and warm weather, you know, that just creates some of the best places for a fish. It's a nutrient-rich area, it's oxygenated, it's not gonna be as dead as you're gonna find, for lack of a better word, on the other end of a body of water. And so if you ever get a chance to fish a pond that's got aeration systems around it, somewhere nearby, there's gonna be something ready to bite. That might be a better one. He's short lining me though, nope.
He's still bigger. The amount of fish is ridiculous.
I mean, I love to go fish a pond. To me, it's fun, and this is what you dream about, being in a pond, but I don't understand this one. So.
I mean, being a kid, this is what we all started doing. And it's still just as much fun as
Absolutely.
When I was 8.
You can never underestimate the value of the thump.
Right.
The thump. I mean, it is still, to this day, just gets my blood pumping. When you're fishing a pond, you can keep it pretty simple. You don't have to overthink fishing a pond. Soft plastics are always going to be key, especially weightless ones. A frog of some kind, a popping frog. I was throwing the flapping frog on this one here, something that you can throw over the slop. A spinnerbait, I mean, you can never go wrong with spinnerbait. I mean, spinnerbaits have been around as long as it seems like bass fishing, and they still produce. So don't overthink it. Keep it simple. Grab 1 or 2 rods, carry a couple of baits in your pocket or a little tackle box, and just go enjoy pond fishing. When Chris and I get a chance to go do something like this, it takes us back when I had no gray hair, was a lot younger, and he was just still a little kid in high school.
Well, coming up, we're sitting down with pro angler Jeff Reynolds to hear what he has to say about his favorite way to catch big bass.
When there's miles of water in front of you and hundreds of feet below, you need a boat with the chops to dominate, no matter the conditions. With the strength and technology to overcome the elements and the competition. Ranger Boats, still building legends, one at a time.
The best of the best just got better. Clearer images, sharper resolution, improved target separation. That's right, better. LiveScope Plus, only from Garmin.
Welcome back to Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin. Every avid angler has their favorite bait and tackle to throw, and now we're hanging out with Jeff Reynolds as he spills why the Secret Lures lead shaker is a tool he keeps rigged up in his boat 12 months out of the year.
When throwing a shaky head, I've always been one that thinks of it as like a finesse type deal until I seen this lead shaker. And the first time I threw it, I was like, man, this is just a whole different world to me. Now I can feel something now. I can feel everything I'm dragging it through. And there's so many different things you can do with it. Different kind of worms you can put it on, an old monster, a Berkeley power worm, big Cinco type bait, smaller finesse worms. And the ways you use it, power fish it. I mean, I power fish with it. I don't just throw it out there and let it set on the bottom like you're dragging a Texas rig worm. I mean, I'm dragging it through stuff, through stumps, through brush piles, through rock points, everything. I'm moving it a lot.
One of the neatest things about this bait is the way it sets in the water. As you can see, that little concave spot in the head right there, that's what comes the name pivot divot head. But the way that bait sets, it's just like that. And in the water, that tail will be up there just wiggling around, and I mean pretty much doing all the work. And when you drag it across the bottom, it's just bumping the bottom like that as it comes through. And them fish, I think a lot of them fish hear it hitting them rocks, kind of like crawdads will be clicking, and then when they see it just floating up there, coming through there, and they will eat it. Fish catching machine.
The line and the equipment that I use to fish this, I'm throwing 20-pound fluorocarbon, especially from the half ounce and up, half ounce and 3/4 ounce, I'm throwing 20-pound because I'm dragging it around some rough stuff. I don't want to throw super, super light stuff because this is a heavy head. It's going to stay on the bottom. That's what I want it to do. So I want to make sure I got a little bit bigger line. If you drop down to the 1/8 ounce or the 1/4 ounce tail shakers, I'll drop down in line because you don't want that line taken away from the action of a smaller bait and holding it up off bottom more. The biggest thing, everybody always asks, what size line should I use? I like to use as big as I can get away with, but if you throw that bait out there and you can just feel your line that's just kind of not laying in the water good and you're not feeling your bait good, that's when you need to drop to a smaller line. You cannot get them in if you can't get them on. And a line will make a big difference on how a bait performs. This is how you rig it. It's got a screw lock up here. You just put it up there, screw it all the way to the head. When you get it up there, look and see kind of where the bottom of the hook is. That's roughly where you want to go in. I'm gonna go in right there, and I'm gonna slide it all the way down till it's straight. And I want that hook right on the outside edge where it don't have as much plastic to go through when you set the hook. You know, if you just take it like that and just barely stick it in, you've got that whole worm that you've got to penetrate to get it into that fish's mouth. If I pinch it up, stick it all the way in there right out to the edge, I can feel that hook right there. That's going to give you a better hookup. The lead shaker comes in different sizes. This particular one is a 1/2 ounce. This is probably my favorite. You can get a 3/4 ounce. You can drop down these tail shakers and, you know, get 1/4 ounce, 1/8 ounce. And the reason you want the different size baits, there's different styles of fishing with it. You can either throw it out there and drag it real slow. You can throw it out there and reel it across the bottom. And when you're doing that, you want something heavier that's going to stay down when you're reeling it. You know, if you're throwing a 1/4 ounce head in 15 foot of water, you can't reel it because it's going to come off the bottom. You need a heavier head to keep it on the bottom. So you get a school of fish going, you catch a few of them, you're dragging it through there, which is what I do. They quit biting, you can throw that bait out there, like this 1/2 ounce I throw a lot. I had one spot that was actually in a tournament one time. We caught them pretty good, caught several fish, decent ones, and they just quit biting. I know there's still fish down there, I can see them on my live scope. Throw it out there and I start reeling it through there. Steady retrieve, reeling it, it's like 7 foot of water, 1/2 ounce head, and immediately, the first 2 casts I made reeling it, I caught a 4-pounder and a 5-pounder and we won that tournament. I'm just telling you right now, this bait has won me more money in the past 5 years since I've been throwing it than all other baits combined. It changed the way I fish. I am more confident now fishing offshore. I mean, I still do my shallow deal. I'll throw this in 2 foot of water because they eat this right here. I mean, I don't know, there's just something about it. They eat it. And whether anybody else likes it or not, that is the favorite bait in my boat. Uh-oh. Oh yeah. Golly. Boy, that's a good one there. Come here, baby. Easy. Oh yeah. Look at that right there, boys. Look how fat that fish is. That is by far now my favorite bait. That's on the deck of my boat all the time. Whether it's a 1/2 ounce, 1/4 ounce, 1/8 ounce, 3/4 ounce, just depends on how deep the fish are. One more splash.
To add the Secret Lures lead shaker to your tackle box, head on over to secretlures.com. Coming up, we're hopping over to Medina Lake, where Wade Middleton will go on a fish catching tear.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories, fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
When we could sell a good product to people and they get that same enjoyment that we do, I always tell them, it's like, it makes my heart happy.
At Secret Lures, our bass and passion is what inspired us to bring you the brand new Stupid Craw Kit. This kit is filled to the brim with all 5 Stupid Craw colors and 2 sizes of Stupid Tube jig heads. Whether you're a tournament angler looking for an advantage over the competition,
That right there is fun. Stupid Craw.
or you're passing the passion for bassing to the next generation of anglers,
There's a lot of fun stuff about fishing, but I like catching big bass. And I like just beating all the boys.
when you buy a Secret Lures Stupid Craw Kit, you're going to turn the phrase "gone fishing" into "gone catching." Head on over to secretlures.com to purchase your Stupid Craw Kit and get hooked up with any of our tournament-grade tackle.
Come on, man, let's roll! What the?
To catch the fish, you need to be one with the fish.
With
Power Pole shallow water anchors, you'll get the ultimate in precision, power, and control, so you can catch more fish. No face paint or phony fins necessary.
Welcome back to Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin. To continue sharing our love of fishing, we're making a short trip over to Medina Lake, just outside of San Antonio, Texas. As any avid outdoorsman knows, if you're determined to go fishing, absolutely nothing, except maybe a little lightning, will stand in your way of getting out on the water.
We've been wanting to fish. We had a couple of issues we had to run through, weather, cold fronts, everything else. And finally, we said, hey, regardless of the fact the wind's gonna blow 25 miles an hour, let's just run out to Medina. And I haven't been to Medina in a long time, probably 4 or 5 years. And it's a lake that's widely known, goes through a lot of variations in water level, fluctuates up and down all the time. And it's probably 49, 50 feet low right now. And it's generally full of fish, they're just mostly small. At least we can kind of fish through here, not blowing us quite around. There's fish right there. Captured one. Oh yeah, little buddy. Little rock crawler bass. Thank you, sir. We will take you. You bit it like you wanted it too. World famous Medina bullet right there. I'm have to get the pliers out. Get you out, we will let you go back. We have on and off over the last 30 years when we come here, we have caught a lot of fish this size on this lake. There we go. Just a nice, healthy little youngin'. Let you grow back, grow up. Makes all the sense in the world. I even called it when we pulled up. I said, we ought to be able to catch one right here. Put the old rock crawler to work. Come here, buddy. Coming up. Little bitty guy. I think we have the right color though. Every fish is required the pliers. Oh, there we go, buddy. Medina bullet in its prime. There's kind of fat. We've been eating crawdads. This is one of those days that fishing into the wind is probably not an option. I literally have just put the wind behind me, fishing big, steep, bluffy, channel swing rock banks, and there's few baits better than that rock crawler. It's just perfect for this. You can throw a jerk bait down this too, but with the way the wind's blowing, I just feel like I can crank these almost vertical walls of this big chunk rock. About 7 years ago, I knew they stocked this lake with a lot of fish, and I thought, well, let's go run around a little bit, see what we can't find. You can see all the channel swings with the lake being really low, and I knew where most of these swings were anyway from fishing out here on and off over the last 20, 25 years. And so, you know, when I see a channel swing, 55-degree water temperature, the first thing that pops into my mind is I'm gonna crank parallel to some of that chunk rock, and I'll tie on like a SPRO rock crawler. It wasn't 10 casts after I tied that on, we started getting bit and started getting bit repeatedly. Boy, we're just grinding that old bait down into those rocks, just digging it and crawling along through there when we get these bites. And I'm throwing the same one over and over. Got a little bit of chartreuse type of an orange belly, which I really like this color, honestly. I've always liked it. Get a little chalkiness to the water. Being all stirred up with the wind, these fish think they've got a crawdad coming through here. We are flying down these banks in this high wind. It's just a great technique. I got another one right there. Catch a lot of fish. This is a numbers day on this lake, and they do catch some occasional good ones out of here, but it's not very often. It's not something you can plan on, but you know, when you start talking about a pattern and a style, this is about as good as you can dial up for throwing the old SPRO rock crawler. It comes in multiple sizes, so you can throw some that go a little shallower, some that actually go a little bit deeper. And I'm actually fishing it on 14-pound Sunline Sniper right now. and grinding it down to about 8 feet and just crawling it through those rocks. And every now and then get it in front of one that wants it. You can see the wear and tear on this bait where we've been literally grinding it into the rocks right here. And this is called the SPRO rock crawler for a reason. It gets into those rocks like that, bounces off of them and darts and dives, and those fish are hitting it, you know, pretty aggressively. You can see all the scratch and the teeth marks from them biting and chewing on it, which is what you want. That's a battle-proven veteran right there that you keep when you put him back in the box and you're digging for that color again in the future. You know this one's a proven performer and he comes back out to play. See if we can't catch a couple more.
When we come back, we'll wrap up our time on the water with a rundown of how Wade has his trusty Garmin mapping unit set up in his boat. And we'll reel in the biggest fish of the day.
Born in Japan, using technology, innovation, and precision, Sunline produces the widest selection of fishing lines at the most technologically advanced line factory in the world. Manufactured at the strictest tolerances to produce victories at the highest levels of tournament bass fishing. From household names like Christie, Swindle, and Cruz, to young guns like Cook, Logan, New, and Welcher, they all trust Sunline to take them to the top of the leaderboard. Choose the line that will give you the strength to guarantee your confidence. Sunline.
Yes.
Fishing isn't just a hobby, it's an obsession. Whether it's blazing hot or bitterly cold, bright sunshine, raining, or even snowing, someplace, somewhere, there's a fish that's ready to bite. And as the angler, you need baits that will catch the fish anywhere, anytime, no matter the conditions. From throwing topwaters to cranking the depths, know the baits to throw. Choose SPRO.
I use Seafoam motor treatment in my truck's gas tank to keep fuel injectors clean, and in my oil to prevent heavy residue buildup in the crankcase. No other engine treatment works as quickly and effectively as Seafoam. My absolute favorite for preventing engine problems or troubleshooting and reviving engines, always.
Help your engine run better and last longer. Go to seafoamworks.com.
Welcome back to Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin. Before we near the end of this show, let's learn about how Wade has his Garmin mapping unit set up across his boat.
You know, I've been running a 16-inch screen on my boat for the last couple of years, and this year I went to a pair of dual 12-inch Echo maps. And these units are really unique. You can put your 4 favorites, and you can do lots of other things with them, where you've got shortcuts to click back and forth. And I've got clear view on my left, and I like that in a situation where I know I'm not going to be running a lot high speed and I want to look at it, and I've got it dominating the whole screen. On the right-hand side, I've got traditional, which gives me a good depth when I'm running, along with mapping, and I can quickly push the buttons and change to other scenarios. And then up front, live scope. I mean, I dedicate an entire screen all the time to live scope, and I always have another screen below it where I'm gonna have mapping. And I like to have the mapping to look at what's gonna be way out ahead of me when I'm looking at points, or I'm looking at changes in the depth and anything that might be going along in those situations, so that I can, you know, kind of target where I wanna hold the boat. And then as I get closer and I get up on top of that type of cover with the live scope, I can find the real subtleties that are gonna be set up there, the timber that's out there, big rocks, the drop-offs, and obviously fish, so that I wanna actually make a cast to target that specific location. That there's got a little belly on him. He's been eating good. That's fun. I mean, eating it all. Look at how healthy some of these are. No, he's 13 and a half. We've actually caught several keepers in today, just out of curiosity. This was a lake we used to come fish these little Friday night derbies, and if you caught one, you probably got paid back then. If you caught 2, you're in the top 3. If you captured 3 keepers, you probably won. Now, there were some days in the spring where guys would hammer them pretty good, but for the most part, I never fished here during any of those spring ones. I only did it a few times in the summer. It was a lot of fun. Get a cheeseburger at Red's Cove over there, and then fish till midnight and drive home.
Looks like Kevin Giesche's son, Nick, is channeling some of those old-school competitive derby vibes and reeling in a fish of his own.
Get him, Nick!
Now we can bring around this side of the boat. We got a net here. That's bigger than I'm talking about. That's the biggest fish of the day right there.
Get him, Nick! Let's go!
That's not a bad fish.
That's good. That's bigger than anything I've caught.
Awesome fish, Nick. Way to show Wade how it's done.
That's fun. You know, when we get out here filming these shows, a lot of times we'll have a camera boat. It's spring break. Kevin's got his son Nick out here, and we tied him on a rock crawler, and he just caught the biggest fish of the day right behind me. That's pretty awesome. Showing us up. Good stuff right there.
That's all the fishing love we can fit into this show, but any fellow fisherman knows we could talk fishing all day long. From fishing ponds to banks to open water lakes, any day on the water is a fin-tastic day. Hey, thank you for watching, and join us next week on a new episode of Americana Outdoors. Americana Outdoors is a Careco TV production. This episode was made possible by these partners. From sunup to sundown, day in and day out, we work hard. We play hard. And to keep us going during those long hours, we demand performance. Angle Coolers, the original high-performance cooler.
TH Marine has been producing top-of-the-line marine accessories to rig boats from transom to trolling motor for decades. From jack plates to fish care to LEDs, TH Marine has you covered. TH Marine, outfitting your boat from transom to trolling motor.
We don't have a large laboratory to test baits. Why, you ask? We don't need a big laboratory because our pros fish, our employees fish, our owners fish, and our kids fish. This is our laboratory. Our R&D comes from time on the water. All that time on the water brings us thousands of hours of testing new products and improving current ones for all species. Big Bite Baits, designed to bring the big bite to your line.
To fishermen and other liars, the time you spent on the docks, the banks, the boats, the lines you cast, and the hooks you set. These moments you share with the people you love, the fish you never forget, and the tales that get taller with every retelling. Make memories that'll last a lifetime with Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.